Final Fantasy XIV Patch 7.2 Seekers of Eternity. We have a new live stream. We have a new trailer. Let's react to it, shall we? Hello, 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 everybody. I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and let's just get right on into this. Okay. I like the giant pyramid. That pyramid was cool. Occult Crescent just looks so dang good.
Adaptation in an ever-changing environment.
Mine.
The old and infirm are weeded out, allowing the species to thrive.
Oh, that's for the Occult Crescent. Oh, I was wondering why we were doing the Dawntrail boat scene again. Now that looks cool. Ah, a wall. Oh my. Alright, I swear to God, the original intention of this video was to watch this trailer all the way through. We're going to do that. I just need to... Are we getting pinballed off the screen? That's funny. That's a mechanic that's going to be so funny to watch people mess up time and time again. Yes. All kinds of yes to that.
They've gotten in and made themselves at home. I'm detecting something. You have to deal with it to continue on.
I'm liking the vibe so far. I like the shot guy. I know he's from a dungeon before. That's a cool dragon.
It meant a lot to them.
I think it's an FF5 job with the unicorn. I haven't played the game, but I remember Mr. Happy talk about it. Dude. I'm so thankful getting more Sphinx. Yes. First of all, moon rovers with the moon rabbits. Yes.
That is the most expeditious course of action.
Bob the Builder, can we fix it? See, now that's what I wanted to say. I wanted them to lean a bit more into the theme there, and that's seemingly what they're doing. Yes! My God. Hardy boiled with the gun. Man's gonna go for the Call of Duty kill streak.
Whatever do you mean?
We ask that all recipients equip their regulators and promptly complete device registration.
Who the hell are you? Oh, I think that's Fane. I think that's the FF9 Garnet cloak thing. I'm not calling it dagger. Yeah, I think we could see that. I'm pretty sure that was... Yes, dude! All the roses as well. This has to be Arcadian. What the hell was that Lalafell? Is that a freaking mech? Pick the man, says a boss. Be like, you want your nerfs, you have to fight them. Fight for your nerfs.
We have important business with you.
Who the hell is that?
In your keeping, the key to interdimensional fusion.
Who's that nerd?
You return it to us. Yes?
Off rip, that was way more up my alley, tone-wise, than Dawntrail has been up to now. That looked really good to me, like from top to bottom. Okay, so I watched the trailer again and actually paid attention to the dialogue. I know, revolutionary new strategy just dropped there. So quick overall thoughts. 1, I like the tone of the trailer way more than the tone of 7.0 and 7.1, so far at least. The stuff with Solution 9, the focus on death as a theme. And like what they're talking about right here in the dialogue that's going on as I'm yapping over it, by the way. The dialogue is essentially saying that the environment we are in uses death as a way to weed out species to thrive. I may just be reading the subtitle there, ignore that, I'm a good streamer. But like, they're using death as a way to evolve humanity. If you actually want to explore that theme, it can be really cool and interesting. I have one big concern with the story going forward for 7.2 and 7.3, and that is, how do we not make it just feel like a rehash of what we did with 7.0 with Solution 9, but also particularly the Final Zone? How do we just not essentially rehash those themes again? I will say, though, even if they end up doing that to some degree, I am liking the stuff that is actually happening so far. The Two's Fiend dynamic, essentially having like Ours Fiend be like Garnet from FF9, especially with the cloak. That definitely seems to be a visual and a similarity they want us to pick up on. Seems interesting to me. This seems like a guy from Preservation, which is like a secret organization they keep yapping on about. Hildebrand's just the GOAT. I love that man. I love everything he is about. Now, we have the FF9 Gauntlet cloak thing that she used to hide her identity near the beginning of the game. My initial knee-jerk reaction is, oh, that looks pretty cool looking. I can't wait for that to be in the store in like 6 months. But outside of that, just in terms of overall story direction, I am rather optimistic for 7.2 in that regard. It seems as if it's continuing the trend 7.1 had, with like going in a direction that's more up my alley. 7.1 wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I haven't seen anything in regards to the overall story so far in the 7.2 trailer that I'm like not looking forward to or not liking. We have the Beatrix boss fight here, which looks sick. I love the rose aesthetic overall. Looks really cool. Arcadian looks great. Occult Crescent looks great as well. Yeah, I'm overall optimistic about it. Overall, I give the trailer a thumbs up. Now let's go over the actual content coming with 7.2. Obviously, we're having new main story quests. We have a new dungeon as well, the Underkeep, and that is a clear callback to FF9. That is like exactly the angle that is used in FF9 as well, when Zidane first meets Garnet in the castle. We have the new trial Recollection on Normal and Extreme, which is another shout out to FF9 being based on Beatrix, though I highly doubt the exact character is Beatrix. It's clearly modeled after her with the theme of roses, the hair, the eye patch, the sword, the armor set, like everything about it is pretty much just Beatrix. Since I don't believe there's actual English translations in the live letter, I'm using the Final Fantasy XIV Reddit Discord to get any translations that I need, by the way. I'll leave a link in the description down below to them. Shout out to them. For the Savage Raiders out there, it's releasing 1 week after 7.2 releases, and they made a point to talk about in the live stream how that will be the norm going into the future, as I know that was a topic of concern for quite a few people. It was kind of implied, it was just never outright stated. Now it has been. We have the Arcadian, which I'm looking forward to, the Cruiserweight tier. I really enjoyed the overall vibe and actual fight design in the first tier of the Arcadian. Looking forward to the new tier. PvP stuff, I don't care. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong here. Hello, Corn Servant. I still need to get around to you. And also, Hell's Kia Unreal. I cannot wait to see all the people die because they can't read, like, shapes. I also can't wait to be one of those people as well. It's gonna be great, actually. They didn't go into too much detail in regards to job adjustments, but melee DPS jobs, according to the, Final Fantasy XIV Reddit Discord translation, melee DPS jobs will get a DPS buff, and they tried not to nerf Picto, but they have to. So, we'll see how that actually pans out. A change that I'm actually kind of looking forward to is new role actions exclusive to large-scale PvP. PvP in this game is, well, let's just say, but I think it does have some kind of potential there. But, for me at least, it's just not sticky. I can maybe play a match or two, but I don't really ever want to just play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV PvP, but if they go in the direction of, say, let's design abilities and stuff exclusive for PvP that works in that environment and flows in that environment, that could be a step in the right direction. And then 7.21, so not on the release of the patch itself, we'll get into that, we'll have Cosmic Exploration, so we don't have to wait until late May for 7.25, which we will for Occult Crescent, but in 7.21, which will be earlier, we'll have Cosmic Exploration, which is essentially the big piece of content for crafting and gathering, like Ishgard Restoration back in Shadowbringers. Okay, note to self, wait 2 seconds for them to actually just show the information. Yeah, 7.25 is Occult Crescent, which will be like late May. I think the date they said on Twitter, or at least that I saw on Twitter, was like May 27th, so it is a wait, and again, we'll get into that, but we'll also have Hildebrand and the new Allied Society, the Beast Tribe thing, in 7.25. Okay, and there you go. Dude, what the hell am I looking at? What is this? Why do we have a disco floor? Oh no, those are gonna glow, aren't they? There's gonna be mechanics involving those squares, I can already tell you. You know on Savage that, like, outside ring is gonna be, like, non-viable. Okay, Yoshi P, I see you. Thank you for proving me right. There you go. Jmulls Raid Analysis 101. Haven't been wrong yet. Let's go. We're batting 1,000 here. I just realized my man is on, like, roller skates. And he's walking normally. What? That man should absolutely be rollerblading to us. 0 out of 10 raid. Send it back. Yeah, send it back. Alright, so you may not expect this, but in Final Fantasy XIV, we have alternating room-wide AoEs. I thought it was going to alternate there. I guess it's not. New mechanic unlocked. Let's go. Okay. So it's another way to demonstrate it, or like to showcase it. There's the alternating room-wide AOA. Again, batting 1,000 here. Love to see it. You know there's gonna be so many people that can't tell that telegraphic. So I'm just expecting, you know, week 1 normal runs to be absolutely cursed because of the way this fight telegraphs mechanics. I like it, don't get me wrong. It's just I can already see what's going to happen. This is your face on Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. Okay, they're showcasing the most important change in the game's history. I'm not talking about the PvP stuff. I'm talking about mounting while moving. Look at this. Revolutionary new technology just dropping on our heads right now. This... Dude, we've been needing this for the longest time, and it's just gonna make the game feel better, you know? Christ! Oh my god, look at it, in all of its glory. Being able to move and then mount as well at the same time, so you don't have to, like, awkwardly stop for the cast time, and then mount up and then go where you're going, you know? And a little piece of your soul dies every time, even subconsciously. Now, this is a great change. And they did clarify that the mounting change is not specific to PvP, it is pretty much everywhere. So if you run, you can still mount up while running. Tombstone gear now, and we have the Steiner set. Thank God, my boy Steiner. Okay, so let's go over Cosmic Exploration first. Now, in terms of mobility, apparently we have essentially permanent sprint called Cosmo Sprint, and Cosmic Exploration is broken up into various basic missions that are apparently progressed like guild leaves. It sounds extremely similar to Ishgard Restoration in terms of overall structure and design, if you recall that. Something called an emergency mission can actually activate, but while it gives you this, like, final days graphic over everything, it's essentially a progress bar you and everyone else that is there are filling by just doing missions. And if you manage to fill the bar, the event ends and you get a reward. Now for the cool thing, the mech. You can pilot the mech, but it's not on an individual by individual basis. Not everyone's gonna get this thing. It's kind of like a lottery. You get a ticket, you have only one person on your realm/server that actually can pilot the thing, but if you unselected, there is bad luck protection, so eventually your luck will continue to increase, so that eventually you can pilot the mech. It looks pretty cool, but again, it's Final Fantasy XIV, don't, like, expect the moon here, despite the fact we're on the moon. You're mining nodes and clearing out, like, obstacles. There's this thing called Cosmo Fortune. It's essentially a lottery ticket where you spin a wheel and get a reward. They even have a new dye. It's called Metallic Cobalt Green. I believe Yoshi P talked about it in a separate Famitsu article interview that came out a couple days ago that pretty much is essentially like your weekly grind, though don't quote me on that. If you recall the tools that are essentially, you know, crafting and gathering relics that we could get in Ishgard Restoration, there's a variant of that here called Cosmic Tools. And Cosmic Exploration as a type of content will be updated with each patch cycle, and we'll have a new star that we go to in 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5. Now for the battle content. In 7.2, we get Occult Crescent. In 7.3, though, we'll have the Deep Dungeon. And the way Occult Crescent is going to be updated is that we'll get the first chunk of it in 7.2. That includes the new outdoor area, phantom jobs, Fate's critical engagements, and the new 48-man raid, the Fork Tower, as well as a new relic weapon. We will not get an update for Occult Crescent in 7.3 because they're doing Deep Dungeon there. We'll get into that. So in 7.4, we'll get new phantom jobs, and then in 7.5X, we'll get a big new chunk of content that is supposedly on par with the amount of content we get in 7.2 in 7.5X. To me, it's a bit of a long wait. It was kind of like that with Bosja, but still, it really depends on the actual execution and amount of content here with Occult Crescent. Now let's get into it. How does this work? How is it structured? Well, you have this thing called a knowledge level. It's essentially your level in this content. If enemies are a higher level than you, it'll be harder to beat them, but you'll get extra XP. You won't lose levels and XP from levels 1 through 5, but when you get to level 5 and beyond, that is when you die or get incapacitated, you will start to lose XP. So essentially, don't die, dummy. Now, phantom jobs are essentially multi-speccing within Occult Crescent. It's not like you're doubling up on your actual buttons, but you select a phantom job and get a couple of extra abilities because of that. You start off with Freelancer, and then the first quest you do in Occult Crescent gives you access to 3 more phantom jobs, and you find the rest through basic exploration and progression. Yoshi P really emphasized that you're going to want to level up all of them, and if you want to just simply go and unlock all the aetherites around the map, you can if you're confident, which just tells me some have rather high level enemies around them. The actual structure of this is extremely similar to Bozja from what I saw, with a few key differences. So you have your fates, you have your critical engagements. Regular fates are, well, fates, and then critical engagements are essentially your big boss fights in the world. The way you queue into them, though, is a little bit differently. Instead of just, well, a regular queue, you go to the location of the critical engagement, and you stand in this giant, like, ripple AoE, and then the party is formed from the people in that AoE. I kind of like this idea. The goal of content like Occult Crescent should be to get people out in the world, going from point to point to point to point, interacting with people, even if it's very basic level stuff. So instead of having a queue, which may seem more convenient because it is, having people actually go to a specific location for this type of open world content, I think it can work. I could see it get quite annoying, though, if a critical engagement spawns when you're in the middle of a fate, and you don't know if you'll be able to get there by the time the fate actually ends, but I don't mind a little bit of friction like that. Adds a bit of choice, which I do think this game kind of needs. Though, again, it depends on how it actually is executed. There is a bit of incentive to just kill mobs, especially if they're higher level. If you form a party with people around your level bracket, and you can sync your levels down accordingly, or just sync your levels across the board in your party to be a balanced party, as they call it. If you have a balanced party, where everyone is within 3 knowledge levels of each other, if you fight high-level mobs sequentially, like one after the other, and you just keep killing them, you'll get an XP chain, which essentially increases your rewards. So it seems the flow of content in Occult Crescent is, you can grind regular mobs, you can go do fates, you can do critical engagements, or the new 48-man raid, the Fork Tower. As you do regular Occult Crescent stuff, you'll find these ciphers. If people across the board use 16 of these things at a specific location, it'll spawn the Fork Tower raid. If you are one of the people actually using a cipher, you have a higher chance of actually getting selected to go into the raid if there's more than 48 people applying for it. So while Cosmic Exploration and Occult Crescent seem extremely similar in terms of overall execution and concept to what we had in Shadowbringers with things like Ishgard Restoration and Bozja, even going back to Eureka, I'm quite intrigued by the overall execution and the way they're handling these things. Occult Crescent to me does sound a little bit more interesting than Bozja was, and I quite liked Bozja as a piece of content. For Crafting and Gathering, I liked Ishgard Restoration, and while I'm not going to be no-lifing the leaderboards or anything like that, having content that is specifically catered to crafting and gathering in this format can be appealing from time to time. It's not going to be like I play this 24/7 or anything like that, but like dipping in and out of Cosmic Exploration could be good. Same thing with Occult Crescent. I think this content will be made and broken on the back of two things. The actual fight design in both the Fork Tower and the critical engagements, but also in terms of how fun and interesting and varied the Phantom jobs are. Because if the Phantom jobs are a ton of fun, then I'll want to go and fight regular things a bunch because I want to actually interface with these new abilities I have access to. Mix and match, see what's fun, see what cool build I can go for. Again, in those interviews, or specifically the interview Yoshi P had with Famitsu, he kind of alluded to the idea that there's an ability that uses Gil for damage, and there'll be a bunch of consumables that you can use. I don't know if that's restricted to a job, say like, I don't know if this one actually exists, but say like chemist or something like that. But that's the direction I want them to lean into. Be fun, be wacky, be stupid with this kind of stuff, and make it so when we're just fighting regular mobs back to back to back, which seems to be a core design philosophy for Occult Crescent, that it's fun and interesting because of the things that we can do to it. I like the subtle design choices they have in Occult Crescent that seemingly reward and incentivize playing together and with other people. Final Fantasy XIV is an MMORPG and it shouldn't shy away from that in my opinion. And having content like Cosmic Exploration and Occult Crescent lean into that to me is a good and healthy decision for the direction of the game. People have been waiting a long time for this content in Dawntrail. And we're still going to be waiting a bit because Occult Crescent doesn't come out until 7.25, which again, 7.25 isn't until May 27th. That is a long wait. That's more than 2 months out from right now. And Cosmic Exploration isn't until 7.21, which is April 22nd. We'll get Savage on April 1st, and 7.2 proper on March 25th. I've talked about this for a while, and I still hold to the opinion that they need to get this content online way earlier in the expansion cycle. I don't care that this has been the way they've done it up to now. It's stupid, and if you repeatedly make a mistake, it doesn't not make it a mistake in my opinion. Having the start of an expansion cycle be so lacking in terms of content outside of high-end rating, to me, is a detriment to the overall stability of the hype the game can have. Just because you make a mistake a habit, that doesn't make it inherently a good thing in my opinion. I think one of the big reasons we have seen such an uproar in the community on this issue is because people want to play the game. And Final Fantasy XIV expansions just simply don't launch until this type of content comes online with enough interesting content to do. And like I've always talked about, from here on out, I imagine the patch cycle for Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail will be rather quite good. We're going to get all of this in 7.2x, and then in 7.3, we'll also get a new deep dungeon, but we'll run into the same exact issue with 8.0 and 8.1 if it's not rectified. That would be my recommendation. Get this type of content online way earlier, like the 0.1 patch at the latest, and then iterate later in the patch cycle. I don't think a lot of people would be as upset if, say, Occult Crescent came online in 7.1 and then in 7.3 we got the deep dungeon. People want their sub to be worth it. People want content to sink their teeth into. Let me clarify, people want interesting content to sink their teeth into. There is a change coming with 7.2, by the way, that I think will be rather important, and they didn't really talk about it all that much. When you're not sprinting, you get a new buff called jogging, which apparently is a little bit faster than regular walking, but not as fast as sprinting. I don't know if that is available outside of, like, sanctuaries and outside of cities, but even if it's just within cities, thank God, just to speed things up a little bit. So yeah, overall, I think if you enjoyed Pasha and you enjoyed Ishgard Restoration, then things like Cosmic Exploration and Occult Crescent will probably appeal to you. But if they didn't appeal to you, well then, good luck, I guess. I think a lot depends on the actual content coming in 7.3 and 7.4, because I do not see Occult Crescent really being continually fun and interesting all the way until 7.5. And I mean 7.5x, because does anyone actually think we're going to get the update for that on release of 7.5? If the deep dungeon is a banger, that holds us until 7.4, but I just don't know what 7.4 is supposed to be, and it might be just a variant dungeon. If they iterate on that concept enough, that could be really good, but we need to wait and see. But yeah, with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure bringing the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on 7.2 and 7.2x for Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. You're looking forward to it? You're not looking forward to it? You excited? You disappointed? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.